Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Wills from West to East. It's been a while since I've made a video. You've probably noticed I haven't updated much lately. Before starting with the recipe for this very typical Bulgarian dish, I'm just gonna make a very quick update. Lately we've been quite busy with a side project, actually our main project. We're trying to start our own business here in real life. So this is quite tough and takes a lot of time, and to be honest I didn't have all that much time to spend making videos. What I've been doing is cooking fast and simple things and just not bothering too much with picking new stuff to show you and all the actual filming process and all that. So anyways, I've decided that it's about time that I showed you something else, considering that there's still quite a lot of recipes left in my book to show you. So in the future I guess there won't be that many videos as we used to make per week and month as before, but still we're gonna try and show you some more than the last couple of months. So I guess that's it for the introduction. Now about today's recipe, I've decided to reboot the channel, to restart the year with something really very traditional, which I don't know why I haven't showed you yet. Maybe because we started in summer and this is more of a winter dish, if I can so say. So this is called Guivech. As you'll see later in the video, there's a couple of different types of Guivech, and there's actually a second meaning to the word. It's a dish and it's also a cooking pot at the same time. So I'm going to show you all this later in this video. But yes, this here is today's recipe, pork Guivech, with the traditional ingredients that we would use in Bulgaria, except some things which I haven't managed to find. So before we start, keep in mind that this recipe is quite long to make. In terms of actual cooking time, the preparation is not too complicated, as you will see, but if you really want to do it well, you should count at least 4 hours for the whole cooking part, maybe more. So this is not something that you can prepare very quickly when you come after work or something like that. Actually, in past times this was a dish typically used in big celebrations like marriages and New Year's and stuff like that, when people would leave this to cook in their ovens like overnight. So just to get an idea about what kind of dish we're talking. It's a festive dish, which well, nowadays has changed its meaning, but we still use it a lot. So that's it for the introduction, and hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and now we're gonna move on to the ingredients. Okay, so for the ingredients, this recipe takes quite a lot of different ingredients. There's many different variations that you can do. I'm gonna show you the traditional version, and as much as I can, considering that there are some things that we would use in Bulgaria which I cannot find here in France. So I'll try and provide links for with descriptions in Wikipedia or something like that for the vegetables which we use as well. And so you can try and find them in your local market if you can. But anyways, the important part of Guivech is obviously the meat. So the original recipe is with pork meat, but it can also be made with beef or lamb meat. Depends on your taste and culture, I guess. But yeah, as I said, the original recipe is with pork. Then the other indispensable part is potatoes. Basically it's 50-50, the ratio between the meat and potatoes should be about 1 to 1. In this case I'm gonna use half a kilogram of meat and half a kilogram of potatoes. Then there's onion, 1 or 2, depending on size and taste. Eggplant. And then what I'm gonna use here to fill the gap of a lot of different vegetables is this ratatouille, actually, which I found that canned ratatouille in France corresponds quite well to what I usually need. So it contains some peppers, tomatoes, some more eggplant. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. So this is a nice solution if you don't want to buy all the separate vegetables one by one. And as well, I'm gonna use some peas together with this. As you can see, there's no problem using canned or frozen vegetables. It's cheaper usually. Other than that, some red wine, not much. And spices. This is not very spicy for a Bulgarian dish, but there's obviously salt, black pepper, paprika, and garlic. Now what we would usually use as well is we'd usually put 1 hot pepper per person, per portion in the dish, but I'm not using it because it doesn't go well with the kids. So it's obviously a matter of taste. If you like spicy, don't hesitate to put hot peppers in. This is the right way to do it, actually. Other than that, there's you can also add some beans, green beans. I'm not sure how they're called in English, but it's basically the beans that are still inside their skin. I don't know. So yeah, that's most of it. You can also add some mushrooms if you want, but yeah, basically all these ingredients are more or less to taste, so feel free to adapt however you like. And obviously the ingredient, which I have to find what it's called in English, I'm gonna put it in the description below, so so you can try and find it and buy it. Oh yeah, some oil, but yeah, this is just for the frying part. So this is you should keep in mind that this is a recipe that takes quite a while to cook. You'll see in the next part of the video. So just keep that in mind and prepare yourself in advance with a couple of hours at least for the preparation. So that's it for the ingredients, and now we're gonna move on to the preparation phase. Okay, so to begin the preparation, I'm gonna start by preparing the vegetables that I'm gonna use. In this case, I'm gonna peel the onion and the potatoes. Okay, there we go. So next I'm gonna cut the vegetables in pieces. So for the eggplant and the potatoes, you should chop them in small cubes, and the onion in rings. And there we go. So the vegetables are ready. Now I'm gonna put them to the side, and I'm gonna take care of the meat. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit from the fat and other things that are not nice to eat. And once this is done, we're gonna move on to the cooking. Alright, so now I'm ready with the meat. The meat that I'm using has been actually pre-cut in the shop. But if you're using a whole meat or larger piece of meat, you should cut it in pieces about that size, more or less. Don't make them too big because they'll cook less well, and not too small because they maybe get lost with all the rest of the ingredients. So this is more or less the best size. So I guess this is it for the preparation phase. Now we're gonna move to the stove to start the actual cooking. Alright, so I'm gonna start by lightly frying the meat. Now for this dish I'm gonna use this huge ass pan. You really should have one of those or bigger if you're cooking for more people, because the first part of the actual cooking is to fry lightly all the ingredients at some point. So you need one huge pan like this which can hold all the ingredients. So now I'm just gonna preheat some oil and start by lightly frying the meat until it gets slightly golden brownish. Don't deep fry it, it's just a real fast fry to make it firm and make it keep the juices inside for the remaining of the cooking process. So I'm just gonna wait for this to preheat and as I said, just fry very quickly the meat. Right, so as I said, it has to be quite fast. As you can see, the meat is turned slightly brownish at some point, but it's mostly still raw. Doesn't matter because we're not doing it to cook it, just process to preserve it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the meat pieces from the cooking pan, put them to the side, and lower the heat while I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm just going to put this to the side for now. Next, using the same pan, the same fat, same oil, I'm going to add the onions and spread it. Turn the heat up again, and I'm gonna add some of the paprika on top of it and leave it for a couple of minutes for it to melt, like soften a little bit, and then gonna add some of the remaining ingredients. Alright, next I'm gonna add the eggplant to the mixture and leave it lose some of its water which is inside. So mix it up with the onions so that they don't burn, because they have already been cooking for a couple of minutes. And leave it like that for a couple of more minutes, and then I'm gonna add the remaining. Right, so time to add the remaining ingredients. I'm gonna add the peas. As you can see, this is getting quite full. This is why I told you that you need a very large pan. I'll return the meat back into the cooking pan and I add some salt. Some garlic. I'm using dry garlic. If you have fresh garlic and you prefer it, go ahead. add the red wine. And finally the tomatoes. Well, tomatoes and remaining ingredients from this mixture. So basically now you add all your vegetables except the potatoes, which you add at the end. So once you add all this, if you're not using a tomato paste based product like this, you should add some fresh water, hot water, to ensure that this will cook well. But in my case I'm not gonna add any water because it's already there's enough liquid in the pan. As you can see, there's the wine, some of the oil that's remained, and the vegetables are actually gonna give some more of their water. So just mix it all and leave it until it boils, which shouldn't be that long. Just make it boil and then leave it for a while until the meat gets softer when you touch it with a fork, for example, or a knife. In the meantime, you should start preheating the oven to about 140 degrees Celsius. As I said, this is a dish which takes a lot of time to cook, especially for the last part, because it cooks very slowly on low heat level for it to be the best. So I'm gonna leave this. As you can see, it's already boiling all over, so just make sure it doesn't stick if you're using a pan like this, which is not no sticking pan in this case. And keep it boiling for maybe 10 minutes. So yeah, see you in a bit. Alright, so we're almost ready for the final part of the preparation. Now this is ready. The oven is preheated. So what I'm gonna do is add the potatoes in. Just like that, mix it up a little bit. And now I'm gonna transfer all this in a special cooking pot. Now, before I do that, I'm gonna show you what Guivech actually means. Basically, Guivech is a special pot made in clay that we use in Bulgarian, I guess, in the whole eastern part of Europe, which usually looks like that, but quite larger. Now this is Guivech, which is like a tiny Guivech, if you want. So the idea is that this is a clay item like that. It's usually decorated, as you can see, quite nicely, like this. It's also an example of something that we would have in Bulgaria. So the idea of these pots is that they're used to slowly cook the dish for long periods and preserve it still well juicy, and preserve it so that it doesn't burn. But I've only have the small ones. Now you can also split this mixture into portions and put enough in small ones if you have something which resembles this. If not, you have a larger cooking pot like this. What I have here is a cast iron pot, which is extremely heavy, and it kind of does the same thing, more or less. So I'm gonna put this to the side, and I'm gonna use this one, which is a pot that can be used in the oven or on the stove, doesn't matter. Just what's important is that you have a top like that, which closes nicely, so that it keeps the whole moisture inside the pot. So this way the dish will not dry out. So there's not much left to do. but transfer all this into your cooking pot and close the lid and leave it cooking in the preheated oven for quite a while. So if you're using 140 degrees, you should leave it cooking at least 3 hours. 3 hours. Basically, at this temperature you don't risk it burning, so you can leave it even longer, and normally the meat will still remain tender because since it will not burn, it should not dry out, and technically the longer you keep it cooking, the softer it should get. So that's it for now. I'm just gonna finish transferring all this in the cooking pot and leave it cooking for the desired duration. So that's it for this part, and next I'm gonna show you the finished dish. Alright, so time to see how the dish is doing. It should be about ready now. I'm just gonna leave this to the side because it's too hot and I want to burn myself. So, as you can see, this is the meat is nice and not burned, and everything else is nice and soft as well. Actually, the potatoes seem to be very soft, so you should be careful when serving. So what's left now is just to serve your portions. I'm gonna add some of the mixture here. You really don't need any side dish with this, since it contains so many different vegetables and stuff. You really don't have to add anything more to it usually, other than bread and maybe some wine or something like that. But yeah, now I've left the pepper for the end. Just add some crushed pepper on top of it. This way it will preserve the flavor, it will be fresher. And as a final touch, I'm gonna add some parsley. If you have fresh one, better use the fresh one. Just have some frozen one, but it's still nice. Well, when it doesn't come out in large chunks like that. Anyways, this is it. So hope you like it, and see you soon at What's to Eat.